Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, we have another little short TV spot for Picard. Now, it was shown in the NFL. I don't know what, some game. Obviously, I'm in Australia, I don't watch the NFL. It's only 30 seconds, but we do get some new shots. And the most interesting thing for me was that we saw two new shots of Deanna, and she's wearing a pink dress in one and a blue dress in the other, which actually implies we see her for more than one scene. I kind of thought it would just be a really short cameo. I didn't think they'd be involved in the story, and it looks like they are. There's a scene where she's speaking to Picard, and he says he's in over his head. And there's another scene where he's speaking to Picard and Riker, and she's wearing a green dress. I think it's the same one as in another scene where he is behind her and she's walking into a room and opening a door. It looks like a wooden door. I don't know if it's a barn or just a really rustic house or something, or if it's actually something he's hidden that's being revealed, or if she's just showing him to like the guest room and they're just trying to make it look like something. But she's changes her clothes, so she must be in it for more than one scene. So that's good. I thought they were just going to get one little scene. He'd walk on, talk to him for a minute, say something old and sentimental, and then leave, and that would be it for them. But they might be more involved in the story, which would be good. Now he says the girl's life is still in danger. We have to help her, and they show the character that he's protecting, basically being shot at, running past laser beams, things we've seen before, fighting hand-to-hand combat. Now the cynics are saying, oh, it's all about the girl, it's all about the female character. It's going to be another Mary Sue character, another Ray, another Mikey Burnham, Mikey Spock. I'm not sure. I mean, the implication is that he's going to be secondary in his own. That's the narrative there. That he's going to be secondary in this show, and they're just using his name to get people to watch. And then it's going to be about some new female character who's superhuman and blah blah blah. And I don't know if that's going to be the case. It doesn't necessarily have to go that way. I know there's been some trends to do that, but they didn't pay Patrick Stewart as much money as they're paying him to just, I think, to just be there as secondary and basically just be introducing this character who will then be the focus of the show. And the strange thing about the show is it was announced when Discovery Season 1, I think, was doing really bad and being savaged by critics and fans. And they said, oh, no, we're going to do another show, because everyone was asking for a contemporary Star Trek show, that takes place after Nemesis, that features the Next Generation cast and all that. And they said, well, here's Picard. We're going to do a Picard series. And Patrick Stewart came out and everyone was like cheering and crying and, oh my God, we're getting Picard back. We're going back to the Next Generation. We're going back to the future of Star Trek. Not another prequel, which, you know, it doesn't look like anything we've seen because of licensing and people trying to do their own version, blah, 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 and everyone got all excited. And then they realised, oh, it's being done by the same people, and a lot of the same ideas and philosophies and a lot of the same elements were going to be prevalent in this. And then we also got the counter sort of news that Patrick Stewart himself said, I don't want to repeat Picard, I don't want to repeat the Next Gen, I want to honour it, but I want to do something totally different. And if you know about the production of the Star Trek films, some of the less well-received elements of Nemesis and Insurrection were because Patrick Stewart had a writing credit and basically was able to produce a credit and access to the writing and he was able to put a lot of things into the show because he wanted his Picard to be more of a action star and to be riding dune buggies and fighting hand to hand and crawling up ropes, and that stuff's all kind of fine, but it sort of implies a sort of worrying idea that he doesn't really know the character even though he plays it, and he sort of wanted to turn him into like an action hero, which is not really who he is. So I do kind of worry that even though Picard now is older, and the Picard character was older than Patrick Stewart, so the Picard character is actually quite old in the series now. considering that it's moved on in current sort of years. Like it's moved 20 something years, it's been 20 something years. So the character is 20 something years older than he was in Next Gen. I think he was 70. I can't remember. Although people do live older, still, I don't think action old man Picard is going to work. And I hope they don't go too hard on that route. We see him in this because the new shots we see a planet being hit by ships, and we've seen versions of that, but this I think is a different shot. Basically, everything's on fire. There are ships going above, shooting down. We see Hugh running through some dark space with Picard. We see Picard being led through the woods. He's being led around a lot by people. Other people are always in front, which is another visual indication that he is secondary in the story. Now, maybe that's actually the case, or maybe that's part of the reason why people are thinking this, because it kind of looks that way. And he's being led by the girl with dark hair and another girl who is oddly dressed up kind of like Robin Hood with face paint. It looks a bit odd. I don't know who that character is. I'm not sure they've covered her in any of the videos I've seen or any of the articles. And if she's significant or if she's just random. And we get a look at a couple of other characters, but it's just shots we've seen before, just reaction shots, people looking. Of course, we see Jerry Ryan with the double phasers. Well, they're not phasers. Someone pointed out they are laser rifles, just like in Star Wars, because we don't get phasers in Star Trek because apparently Star Trek is nerdy, so we want to make it look like Star Wars, because Star Wars is cool and popular, but it's actually not as popular anymore because they did the same thing. They tried to change it. They split the fan base. They tried to change Star Trek. They split that fan base, and everything's a bit of a mess. And Picard says at the end, "I will do whatever needs to be done," and they actually show him firing a phaser at someone. And that's about it. There's only a couple new little shots. It's basically the same thing we've seen before. Very voiceover heavy with Picard talking, and it's just a nice little. We're going to see a few more of these. We've got another 24 days before the show starts streaming. So we'll see a few more like these, like they did with Star Wars, where just get sort of like a remix. It's a standard thing. They basically have the same structure, the same elements they hit on. They just have a few different shots between the different videos, and so you just get a little bit of a tease, a little bit extra, but not really. We'll get a few more of these, and then we'll eventually see the show. And I'm hoping that they find a way to find a sweet spot between the sort of attempted cinematic Star Trek and the next gen style of thoughtful, intelligent storytelling and character driven stories, as opposed to just bang bang action. Oh, look at us, aren't we amazing, look at all our diversity that Star Trek's had forever, but yet we think we invented it. That sort of, because that's kind of boring. If you've been with Star Trek forever, you're not amazed to see a female in a prominent role, or a strong female character, or a female leading a show, or someone of a different race, playing an important character or having an important role. Star Trek's been doing this forever, but they sort of market some of the shows on that alone, and they don't really have anything deeper past that. That was part of the problem with Discovery. It was just, oh look, we have diversity, and that's it. Diversity and special effects, and that's sort of it. So we want a bit more from Picard. We want something, we want it to be deeper, we want a bit more, and I don't know if I'm being stupid by actually hoping for more and trying to be optimistic about it. I've been critical, but I don't think I've been negative. Well, in 25 days we'll know. Although we can't tell from one episode, but it'll be pretty clear what direction they're going to go. Whether they follow that direction with Discovery, where they changed so many times, especially when they got a lot of criticism. They changed midstream several times in that show. Picard, I think, has finished filming, so they can't do that because they weren't as far behind. I think Discovery was really, really behind, and they started showing the show before they finished writing and filming the show, so they were able to change things once the shit hit the fans, so to speak, or the shit hit the fans, so to speak. But the new trailer looks good. It's short. It's got just a few little things just to make us go ooh. and hopefully there's some substance behind all this. I'm going to remain hopeful because Rise of Skywalker wasn't as bad as everyone said it was going to be, and I enjoyed it even though it's got some huge flaws. Discovery Season 2 was better than Season 1. I almost enjoyed a couple of episodes despite the fact they doubled down on some of their flaws, most of their flaws. I do have some hope for this, and that with the new CBS Paramount merger era, that Star Trek is going to go back in a traditional Star Trek direction while maintaining the action and the visuals and the production and the budget that they've now gotten people accustomed to, but with a bit more depth. That's what I'm hoping. But I've talked a lot for a 30-second trailer, so I'm going to go. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment. Comments are fun, and dear God, let this be good.